NHS bill or
Yeah,
amendment.
about 5 days ago, this seemed to just slide straight past a lot of the news media, but there was a vote. Basically, it was to show support to stop privatisation of the NHS, further privatisation. It was a motion brought forward by the Labour Party to express regret that the Queen's speech didn't include a pledge to repeal the
I remember this.
2012 Health and Social Care Act. So it was only a motion to express regret that it wasn't mentioned. So it wouldn't, in and of itself, had any effect on it. So 19 Liberal Democrat MPs refused to vote. They abstained.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So it was turned down. The motion was defeated. The DUP voted against it. The Tories obviously voted against it. Let's have a look here. I can find out exactly here.
Wasn't there a dozen or so Labour that actually voted against it as well?
Well, we'll just got it here. It was defeated by a margin of 28, with 281 Conservative MPs and 19 Independent MPs, all 10 DUP MPs voting against it. The cross-party support was Labour, SNP, Plaid Cymru and the Green Party. All 19 Liberal Democrats abstained from the vote. Now they're saying, look, it doesn't mean that we don't love the NHS, but this would have done nothing but possibly apply more pressure to the government to get rid of the 2012 Health and Social Care Act, which, to be fair, we probably should get rid of the 2012 Health and Social Care Act. Because I know we spoke about the NHS, but my worry, my real worry, is that we do end up with a far more Americanised system, and that system bankrupts on average 4 million people a year in America. So we'll be looking at over 1 million people bankrupt in the UK every year because of the health. I don't fancy that. We need a better way. That's what I'm against. If we adopt their system wholesale, no matter what you think, and you can go on about innovation, I could go on about British innovations in the medical field over the last 50 years. Really important ones as well, like MRIs.
Yeah, I don't.
Transplants.
I think it would still be free. I don't think that's the issue though at all. I
No,
think
but that's where it'll end up going.
it would be free at the point of use still, but if you're getting a private company to run a ward or to run a clinic, that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, but my big problem is that I believe, left to their own devices, with trade negotiations coming up, that might open the door for the insurance-based system that they have in America, and that it worries me. I'm not going to lie. Anything that leads down that route bothers me. It's a grave concern. So I would love to see that act repealed. I believe it should be repealed. We need a protection in place that says this and no more. This and no more. This is what's acceptable and no more. We need that no more in there, which we don't have. I want to see, like, okay, we're going to have some private companies up for running this service, the catering, we could do with far less lobbying and stricter control on it, to be fair. But we need to know where they go. But it stops there. This is how the NHS operates. Yeah. This is how it works, and it stops there. Because if we end up like that dreadful system with insurance companies, like I say, there's no way around it. As well as the innovation that comes out of there, the treatment that people get when they're insured, there's still far too many horror stories of people being bankrupt because they get a ruptured spleen, can't afford to have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the American system's fucked, man.
So I don't want to emulate that, and that's why I think it should go. It's not because I think the NHS should be completely public run and funded. I don't think that's a possible dream now. That's something from the days where you could have one breadwinner in a family. But I think there has to be a balance, and I need to see that and no more. I mean, look what Smoke Steve's put there. His average is $1,600 per month for family health insurance. $1,600 a month, and you've still no guarantee that if you get the cancer, you'll get the drugs. Because a pill that costs the NHS £14 here can cost $628 in America. And more, because it's totally unregulated in that respect. But we do have it capped. We do have drug prices capped. That's the way it is. So when you can't get drugs here and everyone says, oh, that's terrible, it is terrible. But, there's got to be some realism here on the return on investment. I know there's massive investment that goes into developing new drugs, but I also know there's massive price gouging. And it can't be right that if we can buy a tablet for £14, it should cost 600, 1,000, whatever dollars. Someone in the States. I told you about that guy on Lively that I knew whose insurance wasn't quite enough to cover the terminal cancer that he had, and he died badly. Yeah, he got Medicaid and he could go in, but there were certain treatments that he would have got here that you just can't afford it, dude. You just can't have it. I'm terribly sorry. Terribly sorry. So I have real fears about that.
I mean, I don't think for a second the issue is the way the Tories are doing it is like right now hospitals don't hire cleaners, they hire that Sedico or whatever it's called. Do you know what I mean? That's the issue in terms of
you got to remember,
privatisation.
Nigel Farage wants an insurance system.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not what he wants at all, actually, because I read into that, because I saw that. What he said was tax breaks for people who have private insurance. So people who are already paying for a different insurer pay less tax, so they're not paying twice. That's what he was advocating for. You can say, like, that's good. Because here's the thing, man. Lots and lots
But we
of people,
already
like,
have a system like that.
No, you don't get tax breaks.
No,
you don't,
but
you don't,
let's
you
be
don't
honest.
get to stop paying for the NHS.
National insurance is not really a massive loss on most people's wages. It's not a large sum of money, And if you want to pay for private healthcare above and beyond that, you have to remember that private healthcare still relies on the NHS. You just stay in a nicer hospital if you're in there for a while. But if something goes pear-shaped, it's the NHS. So we need that money going in to continue innovation and everything else. And if you want to pay for an added layer of luxury above that, that's a personal choice. But they'll still rely on the NHS.
That's a complete misrepresentation, man.
How?
No, that's not what's going on at all. There's companies, if you've got a good job, companies don't want you going near the NHS.
But you'll end up there if something goes wrong suddenly anyway.
They know that you'll be on waiting lists for months and months and months. They know if you need an operation, they don't want you on your ass. So companies offer to buy more and more people private insurance. Like we're getting...
Yeah, no.
in the same way that American companies do the same thing, because they don't want their... If you've got a good job and you're...
Yeah, all right, Graham. Yeah, I think you've just
productive.
completely jumped over everything I've said, though.
Yeah.
Is that even with private insurance and private hospitals, if you get hit by a car, good luck going to a private hospital for emergency care.
No, I get that.
So we still have to pay in. We still have to pay in. I don't think it's as much of an issue. I think there's other tax issues that could be looked at long before national insurance contributions. Which, like I say, considering what's there in return.
But that's what he was advocating for, though. Not
yeah, of
tax
course
breaks,
he was, but it's because he wants more private. He doesn't give a fuck about the poor people.
Not the absolute destruction of any payment whatsoever. Just a tax break. You know what I mean? It might be a couple of hundred a year. It could be nothing in the grand scheme of things. But you might end up using an ambulance. There's a good chance you will. But that doesn't mean that you aren't saving money. You aren't saving money by having private insurance. Of course you are. There has to be a midpoint there. You can't just say, you're not allowed a tax break because you might use an ambulance at some point.
Well,
you can still take my money for that.
We all pay national insurance because we might need a service. There's no guarantee.
Without consent, though. That's the issue, though, isn't it? Although I don't want to get into all that again, because we did all that on Thursday. We don't pay it by consent. I don't think to myself, which is what I would do. I don't think I want to pay this to make sure everyone's okay. I have to pay it.
Well, do you know why? If you made it optional, people like you and me would have to pay more for all those people to go, nah, I'm just not fucking paying, mate.
You don't know that, man. You don't know.
Oh,
There's a whole
come
thing there.
on.
There's a whole thing there. No,
Anything in
you've got this
society.
ridiculous, like
Anything in
Labour writes
society.
some wishy-washy amendment to the Queen's speech, which didn't mean anything. I mean, no one's nothing would have come of it. It was the only reason they wrote that amendment was so that yellow Tories would trend on Twitter, so that Save Our NHS trends on Twitter, and so that you would sit here as you are right now going, well, we can't have, we can't have the American system, we can't have that. And that's not what would happen at all. It's going to be free at the point of use. That's not the problem. The problem is...
You got a crystal ball now, have you missed it, Meg?
The problem is what is already happening because of the 2012 Act is that, the bill, is that we're putting out, we're giving the government money and they're just then giving it to private firms, which in the case of buying a computer or buying a piece of equipment, yeah, of course. Do you know what I mean? There's only certain companies that make dialysis machines or whatever. You've got to buy them. But you repair them in-house. You repair everything in-house. You keep the cleaners in-house. The problem that we're doing now is putting all that shit out to private companies. There's no need to get a private company in to do the cleaning. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, let's get rid of this 2012 Health and Social Care Act then.
You think that amendment would have done that, though?
No, but it keeps it like, shows a bit of pressure. And that's what it said. All it would do is apply a little more pressure to the government. Would it have hurt? Would it have hurt to vote through just to show a united front? Would it have hurt?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of pointless with this government, though, isn't it? Because it's just falling apart. What they're going to do? Start making promises about reforming the NHS? The whole thing needs to go. I mean, thank fuck it is going. What the fuck are you saying, Alec? Fuck off, septic peg. My little girl keeps telling me she wants to be a pirate and asking me to cut a leg off still, and it's really frustrating me.
Well, if you keep paying your private insurance, maybe you can sort that out, yeah?
I've not got private insurance, man.
Oh, you need to sort that out. You need to sort that out, dude.
Well, if you stop, that's the irony of the government at the moment. You know, they're not doing the fucking thing, but they're still collecting taxes, aren't they? Bless the little faces, going on about childcare on Saturdays for them.
How do you feel about private prisons?
I think private prisons are disgusting, beyond disgusting.
What about the idea of a privatised police force?
Slavery. I think the police should be funded by it should definitely be regulated by the government. I think the police, like hospitals, should be a lot more open to just fucking philanthropy. They should be getting like donations off people, 100%. It's just ridiculous that we can't allow people to just support them and do it. They're not even allowed to take a cup of tea at the moment. It's so restricted. I invite them in. I wave.
Is that why they don't have a brew?
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Yeah, where we used to live, something kicked off a different part of the street, some serious kick-off, and the police had to stay there all night. And I must have gone out about 3 times, because back then it was pre-junior, so I'd be working through the night. I was like, do you need a brew, mate? He's like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, they're not allowed. Even if they really want one, they've got to say no. I used to have to do the same thing. There's all, I mean, and it's not even a question of them, you tainting it or any of that nonsense. It's just it's like if you give them a brew and then they arrest someone else that you don't like, that like your neighbor that you don't get on with, then your neighbor can say, he fucking gave him a fucking brew and told him, you know what I mean? They're mates or whatever. There's that thing. You get it. I mean, look at whenever there's a protest or anything like that. If a policeman so much as smiles at anyone, they get smeared ridiculously. They're like, look at them. They're in with them, especially in America. Look at the cops. That one. And it's like, but isn't it their job to smile and be good and calm things down a little bit rather than just, you can't win with these people. So that's the thing. Like legally, they're covering themselves from everything. I used to do the same thing. If I accepted a gift off one person and then the week after I had to evict someone else, they'd say, oh, well, you evicted him, not me because of this. And yeah. And ultimately, if it's on camera, which it is these days, that they don't necessarily have an argument, but it's a lot of legal. It's just easier to say no. Yeah. No, I'm all right.